Yes, I am here with the civil deliverance, and we're going to start off with a clip by a man by the name of Ben Crump. Ben Crump represented Trayvon Martin's family in the case in Florida that took place, we all know about, made national news, and currently is representing Stephon Clark's family up in Northern California. I had the privilege of meeting him and talking to him about legislative resolution style issues, and he left a clip here that we're going to play, and with that clip I'm going to get some feedback from Mrs. Jones, who's here with us today, and I want to thank her very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Turn that up. She needs to hear it.
It's really about transparency plus accountability equals trust. And we don't want anything special or extra. We just want the same justice for our family that you give anybody else's family. You know, we don't want you to police us and then go and protect and serve everybody else. And so we got to keep record of it. And if we don't keep record of it, if we don't stand up for justice and fight for due process, then shame on you when it comes to your doorstep.
All right, wow, that was extremely powerful.
Yes, it was.
Thank
I want
you.
to thank Ben Crump for that one. Thank Reverend Shane Harris for putting together that particular segment at the Hall of Justice earlier last month. And I'd like some feedback from you, Mrs. Jones. What do you think about documenting of all these cases, civil rights cases that are going on, and how can that affect some kind of legislative change?
So I'll take that in two parts. The first is I absolutely believe that we should be documenting the injustices that are going on in communities all around the nation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's not enough for us to simply talk about it. We need to show what's happening, and we can't be afraid to say, this happened today, this happened yesterday, and not get tired of bringing it to the forefront. And so that's the importance of documenting. We want to make people tired of it happening, not tired of hearing us talk about it.
That's right.
So that we can actually get solutions.
Definitely.
He was spot on when he talks about how transparency and accountability equal trust. That's going to be the only way that we actually get these injustices remedied for communities that are impacted by this violent system that we have. So we've just seen legislation this week, and that's the solution, is to have legislators come in and say, this is what the community needs. I stand with the community, and I'm not afraid to introduce bills. And so this week we saw Dr. Shirley Weber from San Diego, a huge social justice warrior, introduce the Police Accountability and Community Protection Act. That is huge, because when we talk about holding police officers, law enforcement officers accountable, that makes the community protected.
That's true.
So that's the first part of it. And so with that particular bill, it changes the standard in when an officer is authorized to use deadly force. And the authorization is that you can only use deadly force if it is absolutely necessary to prevent imminent serious bodily injury or death. The other part is another bill that bill works in tandem with, which was introduced by Skinner from Berkeley. It's SB 1421, where we would be able to look into police records. That's transparency, having the public be able to know when there are serious allegations against an officer. So both of those are important.
Fantastic,
Thank you so
fantastic.
much,
Thank you so
Michelle.
much for touching on that, Mrs. Jones. I appreciate you coming in, and I look forward to continuing to talk to you some more and seeing what we can get done. This brings me to the end of the deliverance, basically mobilization. There's so many people in our communities that don't really understand how government works to a certain point and don't want to get involved. The NAACP is a wonderful place to get started. It's a wonderful place to join committees that are doing things within the community. Matter of fact, you can bring up ideas to start a new committee. They will fund it if it's a great idea. So don't think that you are helpless. You have nothing to do. You're just crying along and being sad and having conversations about all these people that are getting shot, and it affects you. I had calls coming in from people I didn't even know in my life that were crying because my brother lost his life for such a foolish reason. Such a foolish reason that we can do something about. but we cannot combat these large entities that have established themselves for so long, since the beginning. They are the fabrics of this societies that we live in this country. We cannot combat them as individuals. Mobilization and organization through leadership. NAACP, if you like how NAN goes across doing their things in your face, their style, go with them, support them, become members of these foundations, get together and actually create an entity nationwide that can create legislations that can change our lives. That is my civil delivery from the Maya Quorum. Be one, be luminous. God bless the Quorum. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Peace, and we're out.
Bye.
Genevieve?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
That's somebody for you to be.
All right, let me see if my next guest is here.
He's got a picture.
Okay, then can I get past here?
Actually, no, I'm going to step out of the way. I hope I'm not in the way. What's your name? Catherine Mendonça.
Did we? Yeah.
Yes,
we
I
messaged.
Yes. I'm a best bud of Eva Posner.
Yes.
Yes. You know, she mentioned to me. She mentioned to me about a radio show only because we film police and we want to prevent instances, and we track the officer-involved shootings, brutalizations, and we actually keep a list of officers who are still on the beat that have brutalized and killed. We also keep track of how much they make, and so this is pretty much like a 24-hour thing that we do. We kind of get some crap from officers, and we understand that. I'm sure you support filming police.
Absolutely.
I know it's with us, we tend to be a little more controversial, and whatever we can do under legality, practicing our amendment right under the Constitution, we do. Long story short, Eva messaged me saying that there was an interview that said you supported Pop Watch.
Yes, I've been doing so many interviews, but
Totally.
And I just did it this week. I said it. It was the podcast. What's the name of that podcast? Intercept. It was Wednesday. It was the one before that. It was. Okay, I can get you the name. I absolutely said it. It was last week. It was a podcast. I think they're out of North County, but let me look at my calendar.
Okay.
That's the best way to remember.
Totally.
I said it.
And you know what? She just messaged me saying that she was very excited. I didn't know. See, this is okay. I guess if you have to view us on the status quo.
Uninformed States of America. That's where the podcast was. Uninformed States of America.
Uninformed States of America. Because we're kind of lean towards the far left. We're kind of on the left. Because we don't, even the ACLU, okay, thank you. But even ACLU, they kind of like to rebrand cop watching as far as legal observing. The legal observers that they train don't film.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Beautiful,
Because we're
baby.
out, only because we've gotten everything from, and this is stuff that we hear over on the scanner, that we're terrorists, that we do false calls. A lot of it's very, I want to say borderline slanderous from some of the cops. They know us by now in City Heights, that we're not going to go anywhere and we don't interfere. Sometimes if they talk to us, we'll talk back. And remind them that we're not interfering and they need to do their job, focus on themselves. So I didn't know if it was actually saying that you support Film the Police versus supporting Cop Watch.
I support you watching cops, being there on the scene, recording. It's important. We know what happens when they think they're not being filmed, and we absolutely need to document interactions. I mean, look at what happened at Helix. He didn't realize someone was filming him, so he lied in his report. And then when the footage came out, So, no, I absolutely support it. That's the only way to keep them honest.
Because the minute, if they come out saying that our body-worn camera footage is going to be public knowledge, until that happens,
right? And that's a policy that I have, that I want it released and in a finite timeline, so the public knows when they're going to get body-worn camera footage. But I also believe that recordings that you all take should be made public as well, because that's also footage of what happened, not a certain angle. So we do it live, and of course, like any kind of utilization of like Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and just making sure, like, this officer makes $130,000 a year, and his behavior is not up to par. Yep.
So it's unfortunate because we also want to kind of push to divest in some police departments because we think that they get paid just a little too much.
Yeah.
Especially when they're getting the slap on the hands.
I would love to see those numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know you've messaged me, but maybe you can email me if I give you a card, because I would love to continue the communications with you. And
Totally. Cool.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that. Do you have a business card with you? Okay.
I do.
Because for some reason, Cop Watch, some people are like, so what do you do? Well, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Sorry, people. Yes. Email me here. I would love to continue the conversation with you for sure.
Thank you. And Eva and I go way back. I'm kind of her evil twin. She works within the system, and I'm just like.
I get it.